So if I start coughing, I'll have to excuse myself for a few minutes to get myself back together, but I'm hoping cough drop and enough cough syrup to put me under will help for the rest of the day. Today's project is our little jacket, which is with the Calavera, the skull doily. I know a lot of you have sent for one, and so we're going to work on that today. And so you're going to need your skull, you're going to need fusible or whatever you use to adhere to the jacket, and you're going to need your flowers for today's workshop. We'll see how far we get. I'll talk a little bit about doing the applique on the sewing machine, but I don't think we're going to get that far. So this is the jacket we'll be doing today.
I just have Marina on my screen.
Okay, hold on.
I don't have the Jane screen. I don't know if
Okay,
anyone
just a
else.
second. She should be. She's
Maybe
on the. She should be on.
I don't either.
Okay, I'm gonna
Betty's on
cancel the.
Spotlight.
I'm gonna cancel the spotlight and
Me
then.
either.
There you go.
No, okay, I'm back on.
Let's see.
Now I see Gloria for, okay.
Okay, how about now?
Okay.
Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is our project for today, which is the skull, like I just said a little bit ago, and I just want to show it up close. And this is what we're going to be working on today. So what I like to do when I'm working with, when I come across fabric or a piece of fabric or a remnant, what I do is, I know you're going to think this is crazy, but I cut it and I fusible on the back and I put it in the bag because who knows, I might need it for a border or whatever. So I end up collecting this bag full of cut out flowers already. So today's flowers, and I changed them up because this jacket's for my daughter and she's a little more conservative. So I've got different flowers today to work with. As you can see, as I went and I fused and cut out the flowers I'm going to use today. You can see some of the flowers that we're going to use on the jacket. Okay, so you'll need to do that. And of course, you're going to need your jacket. You can see it right here. I'm doing a dark blue jacket for my daughter. You'll need your doily. Here it is here. And you don't want to cut out, you can see on the doilies, they have a little lace or netting going at the outside edge. Just leave that. Don't cut it until you put the fusible on it. So what you're going to do is take your fusible and lay your skull on top. You can trace it with a pencil or whatever. Then you'll take it and you'll iron it onto your skull. I didn't want to waste this skull, so I already did it here. I ironed it onto the skull. Now this is very important. When I do fusible, I have two irons. I have one iron that all I do is use it for fusible and working with fusible because I don't want to jack up my good iron. So I went out and bought a cheapy little iron, and that's what I use. Everybody still with me?
Yeah. Good idea.
So now what I did is I went ahead and I ironed it onto the netting or the lace skull. The back has netting on it. And so what you want to make sure though when you do that is that you have your sheet, your pressing sheet, because the fusible is going to go through that netting and it'll iron right to your ironing board. So I'm going to put down the pressing sheet, and then I put a pressing sheet over it, and then I ironed it all down. Okay, so now we got to that point. So this is what we're going to end up with, and you can see I have the fusible on the back. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to score the back with a pin, and I'm going to peel off the fusible.
We're gonna put this on YouTube, right, ladies?
Are you taping it, Maria?
I'm recording it, and I think
Okay.
Yoli is taping it.
Okay,
Perfect.
good.
Thank you.
We're gonna, we'll see how, on the recording, I'm not sure we can get it directly onto YouTube, but we're gonna try.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the skull, center it on the back of the jacket, just like this. You can measure it using a ruler, or you can dog it with your eye. And so this is 3.5, or pretty center. Okay, but I'm not going to iron it down yet because as you saw in the original, I'm going to turn it this way just a tear. The whole thing is I want to put the eyes underneath. So I don't want to fuse this on yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pressing sheet and I'm just going to press just like where the eyebrows would be. I've got a funny eyebrow story. I haven't put makeup on in weeks. It took me 20 minutes to draw my eyebrows on today.
Hey, get in line, get in line.
So I picked 2 flowers out. Where are they? They were right here a second ago. Here they are. They already have the fusible on it. And I'm going to take it off. Again, scoring it with a pen. And then I'm going to lift this up. And you can see it's tacked just a little bit. And I'll put the eyes where I want them. And you can fussy with them or whatever, because you'll barely be able to see them underneath, like in the sample. You see what I did? And you want to get them a little centered so they're not too cockeyed.
The drunk Calavera.
Uh-huh. Underneath. And what you can also do if you really want your skull to stand out, you could actually line it with a different fabric if you wanted it to stand out a little more, the lace part. But I have to tell you, I'm lazy. That to me, that's one more step I don't have to do. I'm being real picky about this because this is for my daughter, the queen. Okay, so I got those where I want them. You all can see those.
Yes.
So I'm going to take my pressing sheet again, because remember that fusible is going to go right through that netting, and I'm just going to press down with my hot iron. I'm not going to go all the way to the end. I'm just going to do the center. And the reason for that is because I'm going to place some of those flowers under the edge of the doily. Now remember, when you're using an ironing down fusible, you don't want to iron across because that's going to move your under pieces. It's real important. You don't want to do that because it moves all the pieces. So you just want to go straight. Now you can already see, I don't know if it's close. No, you can't see it, but there's already buildup of that fusible on the sheet. Then you're just going to pull it off. So you can see the center's now down. This is where we're going to start. Then you're going to take your flowers, and this is where the creative part goes. You could put flowers, you could put birds, you could put more skulls, whatever you decide to do. So I have all my flowers here. And you start placing them around the skull. Now some you'll put on top, and some you want to put underneath the edge. Okay, can you see how that works? And you're just going to go around and peel off the back and start putting them on. Because we're going to go back and applique it down with our sewing machine. I'm a little concerned. I got way too much pink on here. Now you can see this flower piece here. I didn't cut it apart, which is fine, because then I could just place it either underneath the edge, and I brought it over the top. See how that works? Do I still have everybody with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm a little bit. Just hit. So you're just going to play with your flowers and place them in place. And once I get them where I want them, then I will start taking. And here's another large one. I don't know if I want that big a flower. And just start placing them around the Calavera. Now I have to tell you, remember, you're going to do an applique stitch around it. And you may not want to get too intricate. My jacket is dark. I'm going to use dark thread to do the applique. So why would I want to tax myself on having to go in and out, you know, every other place? And like I said, if you want to use birds or whatever you want to do, you'll know who, you know, if you're making it for somebody or for yourself, you'll know when you're done. As far as, yes.
I'm getting it. Are you going to cut the lace out in over the eyes?
No, I left mine dark because no.
Okay, okay.
If I was going to do that, I would have just left them on the top.
Okay, okay, okay. So
What
that's something you can do though, no?
Yes, you can
Okay.
do it. It's your jacket. Do whatever you want.
Okay, okay, okay. Just curious.
No. Good question. So I'm just placing flowers, and once I get to where I'm going to call it quits, I will peel off the back and start adhering these down. So that's what I got going so far.
You can applique them by hand, no?
Yes, you can, but the only problem with that is because you're going through the fusible and the denim,
Yeah.
it's going to be quite thick. So prepared to have sore fingers. I don't know how many flowers. You know what? If this was for me, I know the bigger the better, and the more colors the better. But this
Your daughter, make it the way you would do it for yourself.
You don't know my daughter.
I know her mother.
Now I do have a few, like this is a huge bunch. I don't want that big old bunch. I'm going to cut it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And that's it. Okay, so I've gotten all my flowers, I think, that I want. Madeline Sherman's the one that said, you got to teach that as a class. So you can thank Madeline for putting me through this.
Thank you, Madeline.
Thanks, Madeline.
Madeline.
You're welcome.
I'm glad somebody's still talking to her.
Ah,
Okay, I think we're good on the flowers. What do you guys think? A little more or a little less?
let's keep on going and see how it looks.
We want to get to the next step.
Okay,
True.
good, because remember, I got to applique these all on. Now, I was fortunate on this print, it had a lot of leaves. On the original jacket, I ended up cutting out some green leaves because the flowers didn't have enough leaves for me. So you can overlap, you can lay them on top of the edge of the Calavera, or you can put them underneath, whatever you want. It's just up to you. Oh man, this is getting a little crazy, huh? I don't know, but I should do. Well, I think we're good. Let me look at my guide over here. See how much? Yeah, I think we're good. So I want to show this real. I know I'm going to end up dumping those off. Charlotte, what I did is, well, I'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and just peel off the back of each one of these things. This is where you make a mess on your floor with all these little papers.
That's why God invented vacuum cleaners. Handheld.
Problem is my dogs come in and chew on it. And I end up like with spit wads all over the floor. So as you can see, I'm peeling the backs off. And you know, this is all on you guys. If you, whatever you decide you want to do. Just remember, keep your pressing foot handy, your iron hot, or not pressing foot, I meant your pressing sheet handy.
I have a question. Can you use parchment paper as your pressing sheet?
You can, but it will stick to the pressing sheet. I mean, to the parchment paper.
Okay.
Whatever's on the, especially going through the netting of the Calavera. And I want to thank Gloria Molina. She went downtown and got all these for me. Made a special trip to COVID Express.
I got them online someplace.
Oh, good.
I, of course, bought 67 million things that I didn't need also. Because they look so good.
I think
Can anyone,
yes.
Jane, can you hear me while I'm on?
Uh-huh.
Jane?
Yes.
I don't know if you can see me, but I'm going to try and show this thing that I bought at Costco. There were 3 of them in the package.
Uh-huh.
This is a, I think it was either $6.99 or $3.99. These are baking sheets for the bottom for making cookies.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, they're
you can
great.
You can
great,
use yeah, you can
for fusing sheets. Much
Yeah,
cheaper than a Joann's one. So
you
I
can
think there were 3 different sizes. Costco.
those are called silicone sheets. And yeah, you can use those instead of using a pressing sheet because nothing will stick to them.
Lori,
Right.
recently?
I do the same thing, except I ordered them from Amazon. And they're so inexpensive. Once they get really wrinkly, you just toss them.
They're
Yeah.
silicone sheets?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Baking
They're
silicone.
silicone baking sheets.
Okay, guess what? Mr. Amazon and I are gonna go steady again today. I've already ordered 2 things this morning. Let's make it a trifecta.
Isn't it, did everybody do most of their Christmas shopping on Amazon? I know I did. I think they have my credit card memorized now. Okay, I think I've got all the paper off. Oh, no, not right here. When I told Gloria I'd do this workshop, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't need another skull jacket. What am I gonna do? And then my daughter, first of all, I asked my granddaughter, would you like a skull jacket? Oh, no, I don't wear denim jackets. I guess it's not the cool thing. Being 12, so my daughter says, I'll wear one, Mom. And then she
Betty
Jane,
got a shirt at Costco.
What was that?
You got a
Jane?
shirt at Costco.
I got what at Costco?
A shirt jacket.
Oh
sort
yeah,
of.
you know what? I got a really cool jacket at Costco for like $10 for this project.
Oh, good.
Hmm
Yeah,
Jane, excuse me, we can barely hear you, so maybe if
Oh.
the others can
oh, okay.
mute themselves.
I think I'm gonna put it on a patch though.
Well, the other thing too is if you decide you're going to, now I'm going to start pressing these flowers down. Do this on a shirt instead of a jacket. You're going to have some stabilizer underneath your shirt.
Well, it's a denim shirt.
Okay. Because if it's like a knit shirt,
No,
you're going to have to put some interfacing underneath. Otherwise, it'll buckle on you.
Right.
I think I put all the flowers, peel them all up. It goes pretty fast, this part. I think the thing that takes the longest is going to be the applique part.
Jane, what kind of fusible did you use?
I use the Wonder Underlight. I buy it by the bolt. I buy the whole bolt because I use it so much. I like it because it's not as thick.
Mm.
Plus, I feel like I have a little more control. I know some people use that steam-a-seam and stuff like that. I mean, it's whatever you're comfortable with. But that's what I use. I don't know, maybe it's just I'm an old dog and I've been using it for so long. So,
You just called yourself a bitch.
yeah, I am.
Get in line.
I was
Oh,
gonna
you're
say,
gonna-
want to
and
know
you're gonna-
one, huh?
And they're going to put this on YouTube, guys. Thanks.
Sorry.
Uh-oh. Hey, what were we saying? Stitch and bitch, right?
Yeah.
I think
What
I much
happens if you
rather
don't applique?
prefer bitchin' stitching.
Well, I think the other thing is too is, you can start this like we have now. And, put it on your design wall and look at it for a while. Maybe 4. It's all up to you. Do that neckline.
Jane, do you put stuff on the front or the sleeves, or are you
On the
just
front,
doing?
yeah, I put some. I'll show you the original jacket.
Okay.
But then again, I'm not on my daughter's because I might just put like one flower or something over the lapel because she doesn't care for my circus coats, as she calls them.
Like all daughters,
Yeah.
they have different opinions. Yes.
Yes. Well, it's pretty bad when you go out with your kids and you're dressed for work and they say, "Mom, ditch the coat, please." It's like, oh.
We can't hear you, Jane.
Oh.
I think you
My
gotta be
kid-
closer to your phone or whatever you're using.
Oh, it's my laptop. I was saying my kids always tell me when I'm dressed for work and we go out to ditch the coat. Mom, you got to put something else on. In which I say, this pays for dinner. I want to show you what we did so far. You see it? So there's my coat.
Beautiful.
Your first 2 steps. Oh, I didn't take the paper off this one. Which I have to do now. And of course, it's adhered to 2 different flowers here. See, the teacher screws up too.
No, it's called a learning experience.
The learning curve.
No, for all of us. be able to see that, how to go back and fix. Probably the better part of everything.
Peel this all off. And you hear that one down where it needs to be.
I was watching some of the.
Don't worry, ladies, we'll be done by 1 o'clock because the Rams play today. Yay!
Yeah, right. Then the college national championship is on Monday.
Okay, I finished that. So you can see what I'm going to work with next. All right. So that's the jacket we're doing today.
Together so quickly.
It just doesn't take long. Now the reason I liked putting the eyes underneath, and you're going to see in the sample, hang on. Now I noticed in the sample I used bigger flowers. But like I said again, my daughter's weird, so. But this is the one that I worked on.
Okay, gotcha.
This is the sample. Okay, and you can see I put jewels in the eyes. Let me hold it up on this one. So now what you're going to do, when you're all done ironing it down and you know where you want everything, what I did is I went around. These are 2 things I'm going to tell you to do right now. So you guys can put this on the warning label when you're working on this. First thing you got to do, you got to change your foot on your sewing machine to the zigzag foot or an applique foot. You can see the distance in here.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you see that? How far?
Yeah.
And the reason you need to do that is so you don't break a needle when it's going back and forth. So that's rule number 1. Then you're going to go back, and what I did is I went ahead and I applique stitched around. Let me see if I can get each flower with just a zigzag stitch. You can see, can you see the zigzag stitch? It's really hard because it's light blue. Wish it was darker. But I zigzag stitched around all the flowers. Now, when you're going through, when you're using a zigzag stitch, just like an applique stitch, you don't want to take your piece and try and turn it because it's going to snap your needle. So what you want to make sure you do is you lift your presser foot, turn the whole piece, then put your presser foot back down.
Okay.
So let's say I'm going around this curve here and I get to a point, I can't force it to turn because it'll snap your needle. So what you want to do is lift that presser foot up and go around each edge. Okay, we all know how to machine applique. So what I also did after I appliqued all the flowers down is on the outside edge that is exposed, like right here. So the flowers are behind that edge. You can see like behind the edge here, the flowers are behind the edge of the Calavera.
Yeah, yeah.
I went through and I did a little stitch with floss just to hold the edge down, just to finish it
A little stitch with what? Say it again, please.
with floss.
Okay. Okay. So you did, that's hand.
Yeah, I did that by hand. I went
Okay.
around the edge just to make it look a little more finished. So it does, if you notice on these doilies, the edge is kind of a raw edge. So I just went around and did like a buttonhole stitch
Gotcha.
around the edges that are exposed.
But with the same color as the Calavera.
Exactly. Which is like an ecru.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So then after I got done with all that applique and everything, I went back and I used my bead jeweler and I jeweled it up. You can see I have little things here and I did the eyes.
Blinged it.
So I blinged it up a little bit because you know me, I like the bling. So this is,
Yeah.
can't even see it. So we're going to talk about the front of the jacket. On the front of the jacket, what I did is my kids gave me a patch. So I put the patch on and then I put some flowers underneath over the pocket.
Okay.
Blinged it up. Okay. Now I have to tell you, denim is heavy. All right. So when you're going through, like, let's say, let me put it at the back of this jacket. The seam, these flowers in the back, right here, go over this seam.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, you're going through 4 layers plus your applique piece. You're going through 5 layers of fabric. So what you want to do is go very slowly.
Okay.
All right. You may even have to just hand, just really slow. Don't think you're going to go through fast because you'll break your needle. So wherever there's a seam, you want to go very slow using your thumb. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have one. Do you, what size needle do you use? Do you use a
I use-
14 because it's a denim?
Yeah, I use a heavier needle on the machine. Thanks. That's a good question. All right.
Needle or something?
Pardon?
Like a jeans needle?
Uh-huh. Jeans needle or heavy, what do they call it, a broadcloth needle. Now, you know me, the more the better. I want to talk about this collar. I ended up putting a piece on the collar, and what I did is I just fused a piece. I traced the collar onto my fusible, and I ironed a piece of fabric. I left seam allowance on each end, and I just turned the edge of it and ironed it down. Now, collars are curved. There's a curve in here and a curve in here. What you want to make sure is that and inside here too, just like the inside of an armpit, you want to make sure you clip it a little bit, so it'll curve for you and it won't pucker too bad. So that's how I did the collar. And I did sew this on my machine, and if you looked really close, it's a little wonky in some points because it was so thick. So you might want to consider doing it by hand, maybe with a buttonhole stitch or something real decorative would be good. But I did try to do it on the machine because I wanted it to be all done on the machine for you guys. So I added the collar, and you can see what the difference that makes.
Cool.
Even on the back, if you're wearing it, you'll see that collar. All right, any questions?
Good job.
No questions?
Washing instructions. What are you washing? Regular?
I don't, you know what? I have to tell you, with my bling jackets, I don't wash them. I have them dry cleaned.
Okay.
Okay.
Especially with all the sequins and stuff that I put on them. Now, if you're not doing sequins and you're just machine appliquing it, I would just wash it in a gentle cycle and hang it up. I wouldn't put it in the dryer. Because I'm not sure on this doily if this is all cotton thread or synthetic thread. It looks like all cotton, but it might shrink on you. So I'd wash it in cool water and hang it up. I wouldn't put it in the dryer. All right. Any other questions?
Perfect.
Jane?
Yes.
This is Joanna. I have one question.
Of course you
I
do.
want to do one of these for my niece on a sweatshirt. A really cool pink sweatshirt that I found. So the stabilizer that I use, would it be underneath the doily and the fusible, or underneath the sweatshirt?
Underneath
inside the sweatshirt?
It'd be on the backing of the sweatshirt, the inside lining.
Okay.
All right. And what you want to do, Joanne, just cut a big square and put it that way you won't have to try and, match your edges up together. Just cut a big square. And you get the fusible interfacing and then just iron it down so it doesn't slip on you or anything like that.
Okay,
and
perfect.
lay your Calavera on there and do everything you want, because you can go back and peel it up on the edges and cut off any excess corners that you don't need.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions?
What are the possibilities of getting more calaveras?
I have exactly 5 left. So if you want one, email me.
Okay.
The first 5 that email me, get it.
I sent you a message through Messenger. This is Rebecca.
Oh, you already did? Okay, now I have 4. All right.
I think
It's
Diane
on.
Velarde wanted one, but I'll check with her.
All right. And I apologize for those of you that wanted more than one. But I was trying to keep it so that
Equitable.
everybody got one before I started giving people 2 or 3 or whatever. Let me turn this down.
Gloria, Armando had a question as to where you bought these at.
Yeah, I don't think she's on.
Okay, let me take you off the spotlight, Jane.
Okay. What was the question?
Yeah, Armando wanted to know where you bought the laces at.
I bought them downtown at a decal store or whatever, an embroidery store. But I can buy some more if some of you would like more of them. Just let me
Or
know.
if you can give us, I think he wanted to know where so he can go down there and get it himself. If you can give him.
I wish I knew the name of the store, but it's all of those shops on Maple and Wall. They have different kind of embroidery shops that have embroidered goods.
Is it that store that's across the street from Bohemian Crystal?
Yeah, it's close to that.
Yeah, that's one of the places. Yes.
There's like some across the street. They just have a bunch of appliques in the front of it.
Right.
Well, tell them the fun part is going through each shop and see if you can get through them without buying anything.
I wouldn't
Very,
go
very-
downtown right now.
very, very hard.
Also too, if you snap a picture of the skull and you take it to one of the vendors there, you can ask them and they'll know who has it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Good about that.
Also, I wanted to let everyone know that the retreat, I haven't heard back from them. As far as I know, they're hoping for March, but we'll just have to wait and
Don't
see.
hold your breath.
Yeah. Well, they're hoping that, people get their, I'm sure the nuns will be at first on the list for their vaccines and stuff, but who knows? Has anybody got the vaccine yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're all waiting over
At
here.
75, I'm going to be in the second wave, but I don't think that's going to happen until April. So this is the only thing that's good about being 75.
Yeah. Mhm. Also, ladies, I'm thinking about doing another Zoom workshop.
Oh, okay.
If you have any ideas of what you want me to teach out of my patterns or the past workshops, drop me an email and we'll see if we can get another one going. Okay. And that-
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. It was terrific. I'm very helpful.
I hope so.
I
If
think
you have any
there were a lot of
questions,
good hints there about what to do.